What's up? This is my first time back in a while, and today we're going to be looking at Rise of the Ronin. This is my first choice of game being back. It's also going to be my first $70 game, and I have to say, I hate that new price tag. I mean, some games might deserve it. Like Alan Wake 2, for example, I would pay that any day of the week. But if your game isn't finished, you sure as shit shouldn't be up there. But the question for the day is Rise of Ronin worth the $70? Let's find out. My name is Tanner, and this is For Your Money. The story for Rise of Ronin is politically motivated, not in the likes of ours, but towards the events unraveling in Edo in the mid-1800s. So America is looking to sign Japan's seclusion away, open up their trade ports, and allow people inside of a land that not many have seen before. This starts a civil unrest, and where we, the Ronin, come in. You're tasked to steal documents on an American black ship to learn how to stop the shogunate from completing this deal. In doing so, your cover's blown, your twin blades missing, and now your clan, the Kurisu clan, or I might have butchered that, but whatever, and the Veiled Edge warriors are slain for this plot. Except for you. It is your duty to travel Edo, find the samurai responsible, and get as many answers as you can during this time of civil unrest. Now, there's a lot going on with the story. There's a lot of systems that don't exactly matter. For example, there's a pro and anti-shogunate, but those really only affect the allies that are going to come to your aid. I mean, there's little bits and pieces here, but nothing too serious. It's a neat concept that we've seen before, but it might trick you into thinking that there's going to be a lot of endings when there's only two. And that's due to the fact that this is a historical game, so they're going to try and keep it as true as it can be. Now, the good thing here is you can replay missions like Neo, so if you want to see both endings, just load it back up and you're set. It's a simple historic Japanese tale, but it drove me to want to know what's going to happen next, so it does the job. It keeps players motivated to progress, as well as it's a complete story, so that's kind of worth a lot these days. For the gameplay, Rise of Ronin is a mashup of ideas from over the times. I mean, gliders, because we have to have aerial traversal in every game. A grapple that doesn't only enhance the platforming, it enhances the combat. It allows you to throw people or bring them to their knees so you can get an attack. And then we have an open world that some would say is cluttered, but I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because if you think so, I implore you to try Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Odyssey. That is overwhelming. I believe saying that this is a cluster is kind of a free shot to take some points away from this game, but it's just not true. Now, this game isn't perfect, but that's not where you need to focus the cons on. So what you do is you go about taking landmark photos, you do challenges for your glider, your bow, your gun, quick fun stuff that'll build up your region level, and it helps with the bonding of your allies. Along with that, we have public notices, and those are towns or districts taken by bandits. Not a lot either, I might add, and I think I know why, but we're going to come back to that in a second. So you clear them out, and you're going to unlock more side quests than the ones that are already available. You do these, and you get new allies, and they can be called into battle. They unlock new abilities, weapons, gadgets. It's a good return on investment. As for the difficulty of the game, I'm not going to compare it to a From Software game because it's honestly not that challenging. I mean, this game has 3 difficulties to pick from, so you can see a big difference. So here I am on medium, getting my ass handed to me by one of the many fugitives you find around the map. So let me switch this over. Check it out. You can see you can do that in the options menu. All right, see? If you feel a difficulty is too hard, switch it down. There's no shame, just have fun. I mean, like I said, people wanted the difficulty slider during Elden Ring. That was a big discussion. So when a game like this has it, use it. But even if it does still feel a bit difficult on the lowest setting, just walk away. You level up in this game. So go level up, go get new gear, you're going to get new abilities, come back, and it's going to be more manageable. Now, with that said, there are some things that aren't easily controlled and can feel frustrating at times. As for why there aren't many bandits in these public notices, like I said before, I believe if there were 20 enemies in these camps, it would be a hellacious time trying to regain the town or district. The combat in this game can be extremely fun for the most part, but it has its infuriating moments, and a lot of that's going to stem from knowing when to counter. You don't have to. You can dodge around and take them out that way. Sure, but you have to monitor your stamina, and you don't get a lot of that. And the moment it depletes, you're going to get beat the fuck up like you're the star of a little French horror film known as Martyrs. So countering is the best option, but knowing when to, that's the tough part. It's a small window when the attack is coming towards you, just like most games. However, I gotta admit, I had an easier time countering in Sekiro than this one. Now, a lot of times I swear my timing was fucking perfect, but I guess not, because I would get my ass handed to me. Here is where all this comes together. Facing a single enemy is a good learning experience to understand how the countering system works, but a lot of times that's not the case. You're going to face 2, 4 enemies and or animals that all have different weapons. Animals don't have weapons, but they're going to have attacks that fucking put you on your feet. Now what comes with these weapons are the different stances that can be used. Not only do you need to watch your back and try and counter these dudes that are behind you or dodge, you got to worry about your stance against each and every one of them. What might be great for one, and you know what I'm about to say, it's going to do jack all to the other, and you're going to spend more time fatigued than doing any actual damage. So the complaint I have here is I believe they tried a bit too much with the combat. Giving players variety is great for the most part, but when it becomes overwhelming, it's a hassle. I mean, it's fun combat, and it doesn't need to be as simplistic as possible, but it should never go for more than it needs to be, which is what they're doing here. It worked great in Neo. I just don't think that system needed to be carried over to this. Alright, now let's talk about what everyone is speaking on. The highly controversial design. I'm not sure what PlayStation 2 people had growing up, but my graphics sure as shit didn't look like this. What I think the issue is that people think a game has to push graphical boundaries to be good, and that's just not true, and people can't comprehend it. It just doesn't wrap around their brain. Now, if this were Tomb Raider graphics, I would be more willing to acknowledge your concern, but these are not. They're fine. The graphics are fine. The game runs crystal clear with no stutters. That's kind of where we are at this point in gaming, and nobody can deny it. It's either the graphics or you get performance, and this game does both adequately for what it is. If it didn't run as smooth as it does, you would without a doubt struggle even more with the combat, and that would take away from the fun that's to be had. The only complaint I have with the design is that there are some places in these towns that have little traps. And for example, I'll show you this clip of me with a log. So you want to get your enemy's attention to surprise them and do some damage. But you attack the log, you clip through it, and the moment it rolls, you're dead. And this happened to me quite a few times. I would just take it out. I mean, they didn't even do that much damage to them, but to me, it fucking killed me. So it's pretty crazy. But that's my one complaint. Other than that, it's a simple design, it worked in favor of performance, and that was the best choice. That's not even to mention the astounding score this game had to bring it to life. So take a listen for yourselves.
Huh.
My final thoughts, I would say that Rise of Ronin's worth $60 out of $70. It's not perfect by any means, but there is tons of fun to be had. Sure, it can be infuriating at times, but past that, it's still a title that you can squeeze enjoyment out of. Now, I think this game was also put on the back burner because so many people wanted Dragons Dogma 2. I like both of them, but I do find these to be polar opposites, kinda. This game runs better. Dragons Dogma 2 looks better. Dragons Dogma 2 has a more choice developed story, I guess you would say. But if you think you're going to have more fun with this, you probably will, and vice versa. This is one of the better games I've played recently, and it's a finished product, and that is saying a lot. The choice is yours. Which one do you want to get? But this opinion was mine. That's all, folks. I'll see you guys again in 4 years.